All right, hello. Welcome to Race Brain Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan, joined as always by Bracken Crocker and Jack Bauer. Today, we are going to be talking some DEKAFIT. We're roughly, I guess, over the halfway point in that season, so we can talk about where we are in Deka and what these previous results mean going forward. Then we had a variety of Spartan races with some significant importance in a couple different countries, North America, but in Mexico and Canada. And then we got track and field, baby. That's what we're actually excited about out here. Track and field Olympic trials were locked in. BK, let's without jumping too far ahead. I guess what are you looking forward to the most that hasn't happened yet in the Olympic trials? We got 2 minutes to talk about it now, but we got to push this to the back.
2 minutes now. Women's 10K.
Women's 10K.
Women's 10K. The 5K showed me how cool the 10K could be.
No spoilers.
And that's it. So yeah, I think that's the one, because we had the 1,500 men's last night, 1,500 women. It's the women that are left. 1,500 women, 10,000 meter women. That's it.
Jack, what do you think? What are you looking forward to?
Men's 200. That 100 had a little bit of a shakeup that some people weren't expecting, and the depth on the men's side right now in the U.S. It's insane. To make that team, that might be the hardest male position to make in any track and field event right now.
BK, Kung Fu Kenny been there. Wisconsin.
Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
Didn't know.
Yeah, man.
That's your man.
Yeah, we're built different up here.
That's true.
Yeah, you're built different than him. All right.
That's true. Where's Race Lake?
Rice Lake.
Rice?
About 90 minutes from where I am right now.
Like Jasmine Basmati Lake? Or Race?
Nope.
Long
Rice.
Green?
R-I-C-E.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But not basmati. Don't pull that weak stuff in here.
All right. What's the best rice? Real quick.
It's Jasmine. It's Jasmine. For
Spanish rice.
Which one?
Any sort of Spanish or Mexican rice.
Any sort.
BK went seasoning on us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't care about what the grain is. Give me the right seasoning. I'll eat it all day. Lime cilantro.
Yeah, I'll eat pretty much any rice, but my go-to in general is brown rice, but any seasoned rice, it's hard to beat.
Probably
Brown
by
rice-
Jasmine the most.
Brown rice is tough because I eat rice in volume. So
Yeah.
when it's brown rice, too fibrous, not good for your man's out here. It doesn't feel
Gotcha.
great on the belly after eating stacks of rice. Let's make our way to Concord, North Carolina. Shout outs to DEKAFIT for hitting the tiny markets, man. They're not even looking for small markets. They're going micro markets out here. So I appreciate that as it all leads up to Ocala, Florida, which is also a micro market for their
And
World
Oaks,
Championship.
Pennsylvania.
Oaks, Pennsylvania, not Philly, Oaks.
Can I just interrupt right here? So let's give them a shout out for actually owning that micro market instead of being like Spartan, Chicago, when it's 5 hours away, 2 states over or whatever. Like, I appreciate that. They're actually being like, here is our location, guys. We're not this big city that's 2 hours away.
Someone who's about the details and appreciates geography. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Thank you for Spartan for DEKAFIT Oaks, Pennsylvania.
Spartan was now missing by 2 states.
Didn't they
You
do like
can't-
Vegas, Zona, like one time? Like,
Yeah. Chicago was in Indiana. It was also in Wisconsin.
It wasn't like Nashville. Isn't
They've
that
held-
somewhere different too, or no? One of
I
them.
think since 2014, they've held a Chicago race in every state that touches Illinois except Illinois.
yeah. No, they had where was that national series one, 2018, that was muddy?
That's Wisconsin.
That was Wisconsin.
I guess it's technically Richmond, Illinois.
Okay.
It's
There
just
we
over
go.
the border, but it is 6 miles from Wisconsin and 60 miles from Chicago.
Good effort. Technically, there might be a few commuters from there, but that's about it.
We're hard on Spartan and Deka, but you
Yep.
know what? When you do something right, we're willing to give you credit. Shouts to them for the micro market.
Yeah,
On
and
the-
there's 3 men who appreciate the micro game. We like this.
Speak for
Sure.
yourself.
for sure.
Gotta
On the
show
women,
love to the micro.
equal opportunity. On the women's side, Tara Jackson takes the win in 33-38. Jess Petro, I believe this is her DEKAFIT debut in 34-25. Alexandra Chabot in 35-57. That's really solid too. That should put her in the mix. She has done high rocks,
Doubles.
I think she's part of Magita's squad up there at Elevate, then Emmy Cross fourth, Janelle Teal in fifth to wrap it out. So a pretty solid field. 5 women under 37 on the dudes. Dylan Scott, 29.54. Really solid race for him. Nick Riker dropping, what was about 30 seconds from his time, maybe 2 weeks ago for a 30.18. Colin Steefer hovering right around his PR at 30.34. Keith Hardwick with a nice drop at 31.15. That's a really solid for him. And then Joe Cotto, 31.28, right around where he typically runs, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Joe Cotto. Love that.
Seemed like a fair course.
Fair course.
Imagine that.
2 seconds fast.
Consistency. 2 seconds fast.
Yeah.
Jack,
huge margin of error.
Pull up your spreadsheet. Tell us how this fits in. 2 seconds fast. We should probably make sure that we account for this in the rest of our conversation.
I'll get on it.
Yeah, you can't have Riker go 30.18 and call it an accurate course. It's about 2 seconds fast.
Well, he's broken 30.
That's 30. No, 30.20.
This is looking like 20 seconds.
That was
slow.
a really fast course that day.
That was a very fast course that day. 30.20 is the average that we're working with for the Riker line there. So on the women's side, let's start there. Tara Jackson, she's kind of taking care of business, man. This is a good time for her. We've seen her she ran a really solid high rocks internationally toward the end of the season, but it looks like she's going to be in a pretty good contention here.
Did you watch the race though?
I actually didn't get a chance to watch it.
It wasn't on YouTube, but they had a lot of the live coverage, and it was solid. They were following for a minute in a row for that story. Jess Petro was aggressive. This wasn't the Tara Jackson show. That might be close to a minute for the margin of victory. Jess, she stuck her nose in that, and it was a lot closer than it appears.
Mm-hmm. Both men's and women's. The people who let out were not the winners, but they made it a very interesting race.
Air bike, Jess Petro 23.15 and Tara Jackson 23.12. So they were like next to each other getting off the air bike.
And that's then where it opened up?
Correct. Yeah. After that, Tara, she ended up having a 109 for her dead ball over, 206 sled, 118 for her ram burpees, and something's wrong with that split, unless I was reading it in the run thing. But basically, ram burpees kind of offset each other, but Tara had about 16 seconds and about 25 seconds for the sled. So she's just a monster on the machines at the end.
And about 10 seconds on the bike itself, which is when Tara is at her best. That's where she really kind of opens things up. And really, if you can get some momentum after that station, it's easier to go. It's easier to continue to push hard if you're coming out of that station, moving up.
Look what happened to me in Sacramento. I wasn't fading, and I felt confident at that point. Granted, Tara won the race overall, but like if you feel good coming off of that, you can close really hard as opposed to feeling like you're just the hunted.
And then let's look at the leaderboard total for the season, where this kind of lines things up on the women's end. I don't have this up yet.
So their marks will not be on it. It hasn't updated, but Tara has a 33.38, which would put her very comfortably in fourth place. Lauren Griffith is a 33.05. Michaela Norman is a 34.29. So she's right now about a little under 30 seconds, or a little over 30 seconds behind Lauren Griffith. But Tara knows how to race at championships, and I think all that she has to do is clinch her spot, and she'll get fit at the right time of the season.
For sure. And do we think Lauren will run Deka?
I do.
I would.
Why? Why would you?
She likes competing. She just set a record. Do you think Meg will end up running it? That one in Pennsylvania?
No. It's really going to depend on what the High Rocks Major season looks like. If there's something around Ocala, I can't imagine, but maybe. I mean, it would be the same thing as last year, right? It was overlapped with Estacon, and they both chose High Rocks.
Yeah,
they both chose High Rocks at the time. It would be interesting to see if Michaela would choose Deka.
Who would excite you most from High Rocks on the female side to come over here and throw their hat in the ring?
Who's not on this roster so far?
Yeah, who do you think from the High Rocks world would translate with the most exciting ceiling into this? Who, not even that isn't on this roster, but who we haven't seen do one in the past?
Well, I'm going to cheat on that. I would love to see Michaela race against
Yeah.
the American athletes. Even though she's
She's-
on this list, we haven't seen her against, I think, any type of competition.
She's a European GOAT.
Yeah.
Undefeated, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And like on those times with 3 laps, right? Depending on how her health is coming along, she seems to be able to put out pretty well for this shorter event, which is always kind of a roll of the dice with someone without a real high-end run background. And she kind of like, as a runner, she kind of lopes a little bit. She seems a little bit more of a grinder. That's why I
She's
would
confident.
love to see it.
Yeah.
That's why I would love to see it.
We've seen Viola do a few races before for DEKAFIT in the past. Same deal with Michaela. She just hasn't raced, U.S. competition so far, and that's primarily where a lot of the top athletes are from on the women's side, specifically for High Rocks. Like Lauren Weeks, Meg Jacoby is the Deka mile record. Vivian, just always high on the leaderboard right there. Yeah, it'd be great to see some of them. I think someone like Kate Davey who can run really well. That would be very interesting to see how she does. And if there's some athlete, I don't know who, just because we don't see athletes on the air bike necessarily, but if there's someone who's like, that's their secret weapon and they can gain 30 seconds on the air bike, and that, I think that would be a pretty solid High Rocks athlete.
Like maybe someone who won the CrossFit Open outright, come over and do a strong or a mile.
Oh, strong would
little
be
Miriam Van Roer.
I think a little Swiss Miriam could come over here and drop something exciting on a strong and very intriguing on a mile.
I wonder how that bike would treat her. She's obviously powerful. She just set the Swiss national record for clean and jerk at an Olympic lifting meet.
Really.
Yeah, I think her time was
how heavy?
260 something, I believe. So
that's so stupid.
heavy.
Wow.
But she just transformed her body in this last year to a CrossFit.
She's a CrossFitter.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah,
strong now.
Didn't get any taller. So
No.
I think
Most people don't. Yeah.
can stretch it out. So the bike, I don't know. It's just pushes back on you a little bit when you don't have a ton to push into it. But I agree. I think the time domain of a stronger mile,
Yeah.
she'd rip it up. But again,
She can do burpees.
She'd be someone I
machines,
think you would worry
burpees.
about at the start line, or at least be intrigued about if she lined up next to you for a mile. And for sure a strong.
So when we had Taylor Williamson, who was on the team champion with Rich Froning like a few years ago, that was the Atlantic City one. It's like if people were pretty intrigued. I'd be much more intrigued by Miriam if she were to come over and do a Deka strong.
I picked her. I was like, she's gonna win straight up. Like Taylor
I thought
Williamson-
she was going to win by like 30 seconds. Didn't happen.
No, there's just like so many like little tricks. She probably was like, I'm gonna kill these people. Like look at me, watch this. But there's just a lot of little tricks in Deka that you kind of have to do on repeat.
It is just so hard. We've said this before, but the line is very, very thin. You step over the line very easily without realizing it. And your first one is just like set up for a little bit of failure if you trust your fitness. If you come in afraid, you're going to do better than if you come in like, I'm the best here. And I'm not saying that she was, but she also was like the best accomplished athlete there probably. And you can't race your first Deka of anything like that.
Right. Like it's half the distance, so I'll go twice as hard. That math don't work.
Not linear.
That math don't work. But yeah, so the women in Carolina, Tara and Jess are going to be 4th and 5th now for the rankings, which is great. So hopefully we'll see both of them. I'll obviously Jess Petro in a championship race against some of these high-end athletes because she clearly belongs. Whenever she shows up to race, she does extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
So now the next step is seeing how she does line up against some of this top competition.
I see a lot of similarities between her and Camilla, how she just asserts herself very early. She wants to be towards the front of the race, knows that she can hang. And, if it works, she's going to have a fantastic performance. And if it doesn't, she still has a pretty solid result that at least gets her mentioned.
Then Alexandra Shabo, she was going to be right around 12.
Yep. Yeah, you might have
So-
5 qualifiers from this race because Emmy Cross 36-11. That's probably going to squeak in about 14th, 15th at the moment, and Janelle Teal, who I think she did well in Deka Strong. And her previous PR was 36 high, so she set a PR here, 36-38. She'll be right on the border.
So Alex will be 13 or so when we put in Tara and Jess Petro.
Oh yeah, because we have to put the two of them in as well.
We don't know what it's going to be in terms of qualifiers, or
I think it's 15.
We're just gonna.
I think it's 15 for every single event or every single division.
Works for High Rocks
and Elite. Yeah, exactly.
Let's just if it ain't,
that's
if it ain't
the
broke,
number. Yeah,
it's like the number 23. You remember that movie?
Jim Carrey, was it?
Yeah. That's the number 15 for hybrid sports. Like it's hard to explain why, but it just keeps reappearing throughout history, and we can't make sense of it.
Just works.
It just works.
All right. What else on the women's end? That's a good question though, BK. What High Rocks, and I would like to do on the men's side as well. But yeah, we're about halfway through the season, and it's really gonna hinge on what High Rocks is gonna do for their competition season when it rolls out for the fall. And again, like there is not a DEKAFIT on the same. There is not the DEKAFIT World Championships on the same day as a race for High Rocks in the United States, but they're very close. I think right now it's like Chicago is the 8th or 16th, and then Dallas is the next weekend of November, and then it's LA or Anaheim is the first week in December, and then it's Deka.
If it's a US one, the athletes, especially early in the season, like if that's your chance and you don't want to travel internationally, they're all going to try to get fit for High Rocks, whatever the world major is. If it's still within the 2024 calendar year, I don't see many of them going to Deka Worlds if High Rocks is what they're all aiming for.
Let's talk about the dudes.
Did you speak just one more on the women's side? Did you see the co-ed that Tara and Colin Stiefer did?
No.
What was your time with Meg, Rich?
I honestly don't know. I'll have to look it up really fast.
It was like in the 25s, right?
Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, they went 26-53. So very solid, but you two are still the team to beat.
Ain't gonna happen.
Did Bubbles and Lauren get you?
No.
Okay. I thought they were close, like 26 low or 25 high, but
ain't gonna happen. Someone in the comments got mad at me for saying Bubbles is allergic to running. But until he runs more in a doubles team, ain't gonna happen. Okay.
No. We're all about those controversial comments.
He's gotten his assault bike down to 13 seconds. And it's still, it ain't enough.
Gun to your head, could you just in isolation, you got perfect warm up, low heart rate entering into it. Could you do 13 seconds on the assault bike?
No.
It's so unfathomable. And then you got to get up and just, he's not taking the rest of the race off.
He doesn't get up. He lays on the ground. He
pulls a bracken. He's sleeping at the ski erg. Yeah.
He does that BK recovery, which is working for him.
Who's recovering like that?
Bubbles after he does. You see, he was like ripping like a 13-second assault bike now.
It's such a cheat code.
So I have a question about that. I was thinking about this lying in bed last night. High Rocks, Deka doubles pacing strategy. Where is the crossover for benefit versus not benefit with a fast assault bike in a doubles? Because your partner gets a 30-second or a 13-second rest. It's going to cannibalize the run before and after. So where is the sweet spot? Like, is there a reason to do it under 30 seconds?
Name one race that Kevin Gregory did not end up winning in the team division last year. He is, well, I guess fit.
I'm not saying that he hasn't had success. I'm saying that for the best overall time, would you rather try to run 75 seconds with 13 seconds rest?
What was that voice crack?
Wow.
Second puberty is starting to kick in. I'm going to be yoked by the end of the week.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
The real beard.
Micro hair
so 75 with 13 seconds rest. Would you want to run like 65 with 30 seconds? I don't know.
Running 65 for a 500.
Well,
unless you're Derek Ewers.
For 400.
Same numbers.
Yeah.
But like, what leaves you then set up for the second half? I don't know. But it was just keeping me up at night doing my bubbles math. Is 13 seconds actually good for the team? Or are we playing hero ball?
Because that's most teams.
Because that's the thing too. And if he needs to sit on the bike and like take it rest or like leading in and then coming out, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was just saying to Jack. Like he's not gonna
Okay.
break that doubles record because of this. Because
Yeah.
he needs to get out there. If he does it in 30 and does it faster than, or does it say 25, gains
25.
5 seconds on most of the field, like that's an advantage. But they might be giving it back. They might be
We
giving
just
it back.
all run enough interval workouts to know the difference between 20 and 40 seconds rest.
It was unbelievable the difference when Glenn and I we were like, all right, we're gonna do 2 by 250 on the ski erg, and then we decided to do 2 by 125. Just having that extra 2 separate recoveries within that, even though it was the same total and it was shorter individually, I couldn't believe how much that helped. And I think you're definitely onto it mathematically, Bracken. Like
Yeah.
unless you have a stud runner who can just be unfazed, and Kevin did have a stud runner, Daniel King, who's a sub 50 and 5K guy just in college.
But everyone's
last year.
phased by 13 seconds rest. Everyone has to get slower. Even if
Yeah.
you're a stud, you still have to slow.
You're doing 1,000-meter repeat there, effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not questioning his results. Just when we start splitting hairs for fastest potential time,
Mhm.
does a hero station help the team? I don't know.
That's an interesting point. Megita and Eric Williams split the assault bike,
I think that's smart.
and they have
It's
the
the way to
record.
go.
And they have
Yep.
the record, I believe, right?
It's like
not
the
strong.
ski erg.
Fit they do.
No, not strong fit. Who cares?
Yeah.
Double,
Okay, just-
strong
yeah.
doubles.
I got
Strong
you.
doubles.
It's
They
like the
have it.
ski erg or the row and high rocks. Do those 5 seconds pay you back 20 later? That's the question. You are undoubtedly slower splitting the assault bike, or at best you can match it. You've got to. It's a
It
tricky
might-
transition.
You might get a little free energy there that it doesn't slow down
The
enough.
band's moving.
But
Yeah.
getting on and timing it's not going to be smooth. But what does it do on the next 2 or 3 stations? I think that's when we get to the complicated math.
You could
He's
split that
testing
next
it.
run. You could split
No.
that next run and come into dead balls, split that up.
Now, Bracken, here's the contrary on that. So let's say you do split it up. Let's say you do a 30-second air bike in tandem right there. You technically only have 15 seconds rest realistically, and now you've got to run your compromised 500 instead of being fresh. So does
But
that
you can
kind
run
of
250s,
It's
right?
250.
250? Yeah, you're right.
I
Yeah.
wonder now. Again, I haven't done one, but just doing the outside math, I really seriously wonder if the fastest overall way isn't to split and split and split and split all the way through this thing.
Another
Like-
voice crack, Bracken. You're growing up fast.
Yeah, we were at the water park this weekend,
Nice.
and I was just ripping these tubes down
Little-
these slides, and
little wave
with
pool.
the chemicals. Man, I was roaring, and
You do
my
not
voice
want to drink
isn't
that
quite
pool
there.
water. No,
I was drinking everything.
Suck it down.
It's
gargling it.
unfortunate.
All right.
Playing water spout.
On to the dudes. Dylan Scott, 29.54. He was like 29.50 low in
Yeah.
Oaks.
He's within about 10
One.
seconds of his PR.
right
Yeah.
around there. Riker, Mr. 30-20 runs 30.18. And again, Colin Steefer, Keith Hardwick making a nice jump here as well.
Keith ended up he went triple ones on his age group last year.
Right. He
for
like
all the
just missed
distances.
qualifying for elite. I
Yeah.
mean, he's an elite athlete. Like
For sure.
it just didn't work out in his favor last year, but this time should get him in the elite.
Oh yeah. No,
Or-
he's definitely he belongs up there.
Totally. So what's interesting here now to me when I'm looking at these results and how they're kind of playing out, like with now Dylan, like Isaac Sanderson's still on top with 29.40, Colin 30, Reichert's right in there, and now Dylan. These are all young dudes. These are the younger athletes, and if
It's different.
we think Ryland comes in here, Colin might be right at 30 or just below.
Nick made a post saying class of 2014, and it was him, Dylan, and Colin. So the three of them are within
early birthday. You don't know what that means.
Nah, I mean
they're
like,
within a
that's
year
still-
of each other roughly.
You mean if you get held back a bunch potentially,
We're talking Riker, yeah.
yeah. Riker's actually 33, just graduated in 14, but these are young dudes out here doing the thing. Glenn Race is the outlier, but for the most part, the top several athletes in this top 5 athletes right now are all under the age of 30.
Mhm.
What does that tell us about Deka?
It's faster, so the younger athletes have a little bit more spring in their step. And don't
be.
forget, like watching this race, same deal. If you watch the Instagram stories for it, because they didn't have the live coverage this time, Daniel King, he belonged. He's that 14:59 college kid from last year. He went out way too fast. His PR was, he ran like a 37 something last year. And this race dropped it down to 32:10 because smarter pacing, you know, he understands you can't go stupid fast, but I think he used his running to his advantage. And you're going to see more college kids like that who skew towards the hybrid side. I think being in their early to mid 20s, really making a mark in this sport pretty soon.
BK, what was he wearing on them feet? Was he going trail specific this year?
You know what? I didn't see.
Because he was the speed goat dude, right?
He ran in speed goats last year.
he's ripping that first 500 and
I can't judge. I
505
ran in
pace.
Evo speed goats for my my second High Rocks Pro race, thinking I'd get some traction out of them, and I had a torn meniscus. I needed all the cushion I could get.
Right.
But traction did not do its thing.
Didn't make up for the sled push ability at the time.
I think it was actually the worst traction I could have had for that sled push.
It really didn't grab at all?
The Evo Speed Goat has a different bottom than the regular Speed Goat, and it's like a plasticky hard rubber.
Oh.
They saved weight, and it was quite literally slippery.
Yeah,
I was looking over at Lisa like, I don't know what to do.
I'm strong. I should be able to push this.
I got worse on my sled push. It was terrible.
Yeah,
Bracken, you're good at identifying shoes. He has like some white Adidas. It's hard to tell.
Oh yes, that's right. I thought it looked to me like
Evo?
he had the Evo, the Addy Zero Evo Pro 1.
Blows off the tongue.
Now, while I was watching it, I thought, A, did he get $500 shoes? And B, did he ruin them at a Deka?
Because you only get about a marathon in those, right?
You get a marathon and they don't even, I can't imagine they'd be good on the sled push because they're just one slick sheet, not sticky, but one uninterrupted sheet of very, very minimal poured rubber on the bottom. But I don't know what other shoe that could be. I don't know an all white Adidas racer with just the 3 stripes in black, other than the Evo Pro 1.
And he got 10K done because he came back for doubles, so might be buying.
He's halfway through the life of that shoe almost.
Yeah. Unreal.
There is a
unless there's a colorway of like the Takumi or the Addy 03s. I don't know.
No, I had a shoe like this that was, I forget what it was called.
Is it the SL?
It was one of like their more bogus version, like their low end. Kent had a pair too that are all white with the black stripes.
Really?
Yeah, Adidas don't work on concrete floors.
Which is funny because on a regular concrete pavement outside, they're top 2.
Excellent.
Well, there are imperfections in pavement outside as opposed to like polished, right?
Rough
That's
versus
where you get
polished,
the grip.
that's the difference.
Yeah. So yeah, we got young dudes out here doing the thing in Deka. So it's really nice to see that because there's going to be some battles, right? If you put Isaac in this mix, and if Rylan is able to come back and compete in Deka, which we are guessing he's going to, if he's going to be able to do this 50K.
I don't think he's going to end up doing the 50K. Just the gut. Yeah.
Okay. That'd be
a bold move.
Pretty quick turnaround. But yeah, hey, you never know with a dude like him.
Yeah.
Lungs and heart just scare me as an athlete. They're just 2 things you cannot be a runner without. And when you have issues with one of those, it's a worrisome issue to deal with. Yeah. I see no reason to rush a single thing in that situation. No, he's real young. He's a decade away from OCR peak age.
About 25 or so, yeah. So if we're looking at the results of this race, we saw a lot of 30 mid, 31 low and stuff. How do you think that's going to affect the rest of the season, the leaderboard? Because there are some names, like who's going to make top 15 at this point? You want to pull that up?
The regular, Elite 15. That sounds nice because it is.
I said top 15. I think.
No, I know, but what could Deka do to differentiate here?
The Deka dozen +3.
There we go. So this is without the most recent race.
Now Alphonse
in there.
Yeah.
Tomasz.
Alphonse is in 4th right now. And last year he accepted a spot and then just decided I'm not coming to Dallas. So
Hey,
scroll down one more. You got
yes.
that, Rich? Yeah.
There he
we
goes.
go.
He's in that 15,
Yeah.
baby.
Lock it in right now.
So we've got Colin already has a mark. Riker already has a mark. Kodo already has a mark. So add Keith Hardwick to this. Add Dylan Scott.
Drop Dylan in.
So that bumps me down to 17 right now. There are a lot of 32-10 to 32-20s.
What does the P stand for in Glenn Race's gym? What is he for life? What's he repping for life? P4L. What's the P?
Just literally P.
P4L.
Fitness.
I don't know.
Could be a lot of good things. But what is it?
It's just a gym.
We could speculate. Glenn, drop it in the comments.
He listens.
Drop it in the comments, bro.
This list though is interesting to me because it seems like each year the old guard waits longer and longer to enter. And now we have Rich, Kent, Ryland,
Magida,
people like that
Magida.
Still haven't shown any
newbie
like interest in leaping into one of these. And is it going to be the year where people are finally like, I'm just a High Rocks guy and that's it? Or is it the year where everyone shows up to the last chance and there's 15 guys that are all 10 of them get through, and this list doesn't even matter right now. It's very interesting that it's split into the youngs do it now and the old dogs are waiting.
I think it's people are taking the High Rocks path at this point.
Yeah, probably. Well, if we think about it in terms of geographically, we have a Midwest race. So we haven't seen monsters like BK get out there, Marcus Wallace. Dude, Milwaukee is like becoming the hybrid hub. It truly is.
I'm thinking we do a Wisconsin relay, either High Rocks or Deka soon with Marcus. You can
Kirk,
get
technically.
Kirk, yeah.
My guy Matt Mason.
Yeah. We can also grab
one of the Green brothers.
The Greens are there. The homie who lives over in Singapore or Philippines.
Gabe
yeah.
So we can grab Gabe.
Kung Fu Kenny.
Now that's who we could have running 250s for us.
Yeah, I was gonna say put him in the relay.
He could probably smoke a skier. He's big, yoked.
Yeah.
Assault bike, no problem.
Yeah.
Be nasty. Yeah, I've got last year's leaderboard pulled up, and if we're looking at the top 15 from last year for fastest times in the season, you're missing 1, 2, and 3 with Ryland, Kent, and Magida, VJ in 6,
VJ, right?
Anas 11. Cole Walkington, he'll go to Fort Wayne, I'm sure, because I think he lives in that part of the country. Marcus Wallace, Rich, Chaz Hatton's already run. Mark Paulzine has run. Mark is going to be doing the double or the ultra in Fort Wayne. So yeah, out of the top 16, you're missing 8 of them.
So there still could be a major shakeup, or there cannot be. Maybe there is people would forego, and it will it will start to be a little bit more divided as opposed to everyone being a hybrid racing athlete. There's going to be High Rocks and Deka more.
So you got your finger more on the pulse of this. What are you feeling in your gut with a bunch of these High Rocks guys who also have made world podiums here? How do you think people are leaning this year?
Well, I could speak for myself for sure, because I'm leaning away from Deka. Just the incentive to travel for races like this that won't, for the sake of the race, right? When we can still get a good race experience out of High Rocks, and the exposure and the potential payouts are just so much greater, and they're not the same. So for me, it's like if I'm going to pivot into Deka, it's going to take away from High Rocks, and I'm not going to be able to do my best that I possibly can in Deka if I stick to High Rocks. So for me, that's what's kind of creating the line there. Kent, I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps in. Magida, same thing. If he's healthy, he did perfectly well last year, being he got second at Worlds, being like sort of healthy, right, and not really training for it. So he has the ability to kind of like knock that out of the park. So I don't think there's necessarily going to be, maybe there's not a dividing line, but I wouldn't say everybody's out.
Yeah,
but I might be out.
And you're the bell cow.
That's it.
You're out there all following.
We'll see.
Right as Bracken gets in,
I'm gonna be out and then just trash everybody who does run it. Just the Sunday sprint of hybrid fitness. Riker's in there, you know it.
Yeah. So speaking of Riker and Dylan, not that we're speaking of them, but Nick and I had a start of a conversation offline about this. Dylan has outworked everyone in the world. Can we say that that's fair?
Yeah, I think
Just in terms of time.
Potentially there's
probably
somebody we
effort.
don't know about, but we would
Not
guess.
many. He's in the upper echelon. Yeah.
Like you can throw Meg's volume up there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's trying harder. I'm not saying that he's training smarter. I'm not saying that he's more committed. I'm saying that he has put in more work.
Time training he is
than really anyone we know of.
Yes.
If you take his work and apply it across the field, men and women, who gets better the most? Like who rises the most? Who here is undertrained or undercommitted or just missing that big push? Like if Dylan took over everyone else's body for a year, maybe under their training principles, but if they just committed the way he's committed, who would be the big risers in this sport?
That's interesting.
I don't think many people would be able to handle.
I'm not saying
15 to 20
his,
hours.
but I'm saying his commitment to all in whatever
Okay.
it takes. Now, his version of all in whatever it takes looks different than what you or I would do. But if we were that, like no stone time-wise unturned, willing to always do more and stay healthy, because he's pretty much stayed healthy up until recent, who would be the highest risers?
So basically,
Deka specific.
who has the most untapped potential is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I've got a surprising answer. I think maybe VJ.
That's a very good
That's
answer.
a great answer. That's a great answer. Yeah. I don't think Riker's far off from this conversation.
Currently, right now, I
Yeah.
think that he's out kicking his coverage.
Yeah.
And it speaks to how he's matured. And I mean that as an athlete and an athlete only.
Right.
He has
Not
the way he
personally.
races is mature.
Yes, he's gotten so much better at that. That there's some things with Nick in terms of his limitations on what he can do for
Mhm.
training,
Health issues. Yeah.
just with his health issues, that maybe he won't ever be able to get there. But if there's other things that he could do to kind of like bypass that, I think that he would. Like I asked him, I was like, "You want to win Deka World Championships or what?" Like,
Yeah.
because he's kind of like, "Oh yeah, I want to be the best, but like, let's see."
Now this could come off as insensitive. And I like Nick, and so I'm saying this with the purest of intentions. If Dylan was in Nick's situation, Dylan would be doing more volume than Nick.
Yes, he'd figure out what doesn't.
Anything that could possibly allow him to do volume, he's going to do that thing
Yes.
over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's not saying Nick's not trying. I'm not saying that at all. But Dylan has I'm going to fill my time with anything I can find that could help my sport. And Nick is navigating his medical situation as safely as he knows how.
And it's
No,
like life situation, like everything
And
else
life, yeah.
that comes around with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now Nick is a teacher, and this is the time of year where he might actually have that opportunity to really, really get in some other fitness. He's locked in. He's not going to
Well,
miss.
I mean, Dylan's not a full-time athlete.
I know.
Having a job is not a reason.
I'm saying that if there's a time of year, like Nick suddenly found a few new hours every single day because of he's not teaching during the summer. He might have a side job or something that we're not aware of, but here's the time where he'd be able to do it, because inevitably once school starts up again, and I'm sure things are going to get a little bit busier and stuff, but this would be a good time for him to make that next step and on the training during this summer.
For example, then again, this is not to come off at Nick, but if Dylan could only work out for 30 minutes at a time, he would probably do
Impossible.
6 30-minute workouts per day. Right? Like that would be the way he would go about it. Nick's going about it in a different way, but not just to focus on him. Who are the other people in this sport who are either not fully in on a hybrid or limited with time or whatever it is? Who else do you think? I think VJ's a perfect call.
VJ's
and
a
Nick
great
might be
one.
as well.
How about your boy Seb Conrad?
I like that.
If you put it all in on where this is, I don't really know what he does for his training, but it clearly isn't doing hybrid stuff.
No.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know her training volume, but like Morgan Schultz, she already won or a title, like she could just separate even farther. Or if everyone showed up, because Meg, Lauren, they weren't there, and Vivian got sick as well, she could still beat all of them.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We
Morgan's
said her
a good one.
already. I'll go for.
I was gonna say, yeah, Morgan's a good one. Same kind of thing, like managing everything needs to be a focus first to get her best results. And I think that's why we've seen such good results from her lately. Is she's just not doing everything to be awesome at a sport, because that's just not getting the best results for her.
We've said the name already, but Miriam Van Roar.
Yeah.
The type of work that she already puts in, if it was just all 4 hybrid, she'd be scary.
Yeah.
And then I think we can talk about guys like an Austin Azar, right? Even an Isaac Sanderson, right? Like he's a little bit here and there. It seems like he's put a lot of emphasis on.
He's doing a lot of randomness
this year.
Chris?
He's doing a lot of randomness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but that'll never happen with Chris.
Yeah. He's already running again.
She's already doing Ironman training.
She did 2 team races over in France. She's back
in the mix.
I hope she gets healthy real soon.
I'd even put Rylan in this. He gets pulled in a lot of directions.
Yeah, in terms of intention, right? He seems to do as much whatever he thinks he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
But like, where is the focus, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and he's buoyed by life.
Yeah,
he does a lot of run up the mountains, fly off of it, builds great fitness. There's a lot of hours spent doing that isn't spent doing other things.
Right. And I'm sure there's some athletes that we just are not quite aware of because they're not seeing the results.
Right.
What first came to mind when you were talking about this, it's like the grinder who's like too slow for like the 2 mile in high school ends up being like awesome at 10K, or the kid who's just like, I'm going to run 100 miles a week because I'm just going to outwork everybody, and just getting there eventually.
Yeah, right.
Like a Jerry Lindgren type.
Who was there was a guy in the steeplechase. Did you see that race yet for the Olympic trials? I don't want to fast forward too much, but
No,
he didn't even make the Minnesota State meet ever as an individual, and here he is lined up at the Olympic trials in the steeplechase.
Took second.
Was it?
Dude, that fall that
I didn't know that was him. Okay.
Yeah, he got second.
None of them have the standard, so we'll see what world ranking and everything.
We'll hold off on that, the discussion.
So is that going to work this okay, yeah, we'll push. We'll push.
That's track time. We'll get there.
That's track time. All right, great question, BK. I was also thinking about this just a little bit more on the Hyrox, the DEKAFIT side. We just saw the Hyrox World Champion run a track 5K, and Alex Ronkovich ran a 5K in 16 flat. What was our initial reactions to this?
Had I not known anything else about him, I would have said that is very fast. For his weight, his build, his stride type, and the sport he trains for, 16 flat. There's not many people on this planet that can look like him and run 16 flat. That puts him in rarefied air. Clearly. Knowing the times he's claimed in training and the workouts, not claimed, the workouts he posts based off his treadmill and things, it was a lot slower than what he said he can run. But 16 flat at his size is never something to sniff at.
My reaction is he won a world title. Who cares what he ran? Like, it is nice to have a number to it, but you running 18 minutes for.
You guys are the ones that are always like, oh my God, it's so easy to run fast on the track. How come they don't run faster?
For a 400, we say that.
Yeah, 400.
I said it in our group chat. I think that it's incredibly hard to run well on the track if you're not used to it. Yeah. Pacing is, I think it's one of the most impossible paces to feel, is jumping into a pack on the track. You have no clue how to pace it unless you're pretty dialed to that type of work. And he spiked up. And that is
those
very, very different.
Yeah.
Than now maybe he's running workouts in spikes. But if you're not, it is a different stride. It's a different impact, and pacing's very different in spikes too.
So if you line up so 16 flat is good, right? For what for
Yeah.
how the size of him, how well he does everything else. But yeah, when he posts workouts on a treadmill where it says 15 flat on his last thing where he did other
3 of them.
3 by
stuff,
5K cut down, finishing in 15:07 or whatever.
we'd expect a little bit faster than 16 flat if that was the case. But to his credit, it's hard. Like High Rocks World Championships was probably his A race. To stay on it and sharp even like 2 weeks after, or just to like care to want to do well in this. There's probably a couple of seconds there, but probably not 30.
Now,
I know
been,
the fitness
minute.
I've been at when I've time trialed 16 flat on a track.
And it was good
fast.
fitness. Yeah, that's good.
We've said 16 flat is as fast as you ever need to be for OCR. It might be changing these days, but on broken terrain, like you don't need to be much faster than that for any version of our sport, and he's there.
And in High Rocks as well.
I don't know if I agree with that bracket anymore. And I know the sport's different, but like, you think Gregory Basilico or Hawk Collar running 16 flat? Like, those guys are on a different level right now.
No, but neither did his dad. Neither did Cody Mode. You know, we've had sub 14 and sub 15 guys always. You just can't access that on these courses. So if you can do all the other things well, my take is that you don't need to be much faster than 16 flat to be able to tie it all together. It certainly helps.
Yeah.
But it's not a need. If you could be a world champ with a 16-minute 5K.
That was kind of like roughly VJ. Yeah.
And VJ, Chad Trammell used to tell me, because for the longest time, I had a 16:39 5K PR from like a road race I ran one time. And you're always like, you're a sub 16 guy. I don't care if you've never done it. You're a sub 16 guy. And then I jumped in a road race and I was sub 16, but that was VJ, right? I didn't care what his 5K PR is. He was like a 15-20 guy. Right. I don't care what any of his metrics say he is, because we've all felt it. We've all seen it. So yeah, he's not a 16-minute 5K guy.
Now, Rich, your comment for the women's side on who would want to see in High Rocks attempt a Deka. Is Alex your pick?
This makes me think that he wouldn't be like as dominant, because there's clearly a line that he can't cross or has not been able to cross. I think it would be, I think he'd just kind of be in the mix with everybody else. Like, yeah, I would love to see it. I'd love to see Sandy. I'd love to see Hunter, Pelayo. Yeah. There's a bunch of guys who I'd love to see. Pelayo might be. Tim. Yeah, Tim.
I think after what we just saw at World Championship with Sandy throwing that late race surge, that to me shows when it really starts to hurt. That I think he can dig deep right there. And obviously all the other guys that you mentioned, but I would be the most intrigued by Sandy at the moment.
I'd be most intrigued right now by JK.
Right.
His transitional running and late stage transitional running was at like an order of magnitude better than everyone else's. And maybe he was on one that day, but that's the type of thing you're going to need in Deka. Like Rich won his world championship by late stage transitional running.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good
that
pick.
would be that would be interesting. That would be interesting because he had the fastest run total at Worlds.
Yeah, Pelayo's the answer. Hunter's the answer. Ronk's the answer. Sandy's the men's side is full of people that would be fascinating to watch doing.
We saw some of them, like I think Jonathan Wynn ran 33 high a couple of years ago or a year, but that course I think was outside. It had 3 laps. It was on grass. It was 90 degrees. I don't think it was reflective of their athletes' fitness.
It's just different. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, and it is easy to just blow up to pieces or not have the high end run ability, which I think a lot of these High Rocks athletes would still have, because that's what the race calls for. It's like sitting right below it and being able to work for a long time, as opposed to seeing how fast you can work for a shorter amount of time. Like High Rocks doesn't really call for that.
Yeah, and honestly, those blowups that you mentioned, like it's such a tipping point. If you go 141 instead of 144 on the rower or the skier at Deka, it might be game over those 3 seconds. And with the style of racing that Sandy, Alex, Hunter, what they do, they just go out so hard and just hope that they can hang on. That might actually not be as much of a success formula as I thought initially.
No, and that's the thing. I think they would do the same thing. Do that math. Half the distance, twice as hard. I don't think it would go well. I truly don't.
High Rocks can reward you if you have a big enough engine for getting out.
And then
Deka doesn't provide
down.
time.
No.
Deka doesn't provide time to recover.
You have to slow down, like on the second and third station in High Rocks. you can't keep going as fast as you could
It's
go
forced. Yep.
into off the rower, into box step overs, into sit ups. Like, so just being able to hold it for 30 minutes, I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. We'll see. What we will actually not see. We'll never know because these athletes are never going to do a Deka.
Unless they have a like an invitational style or a major over in Europe, I don't think we're going to see any European athletes come over and give it a shot.
It could be like, hey, we promised to do stuff for you that we won't do.
Yeah.
Will you come and run our race?
One other
I want
guy,
a hybrid trifecta. I want to see a Deka on day 1, High Rocks on day 2,
The Hifecta.
and then teams day 3.
you would see
wanna
some
see
sore
that?
bodies. Yeah.
Just we finally find out, like, what can High Rocks do at Deka? We'll only get them there if we
Right.
lure them in under the guise of a High Rocks. And I'm going to be waiting there with a turtleneck and a clipboard. Like, who did you think you were meeting here today? There's no High Rocks waiting for you. This is a Deka.
Yeah. One
I
other
like
guy,
it.
Gabe Heck could be good.
Yeah. Oh, totally. He'd be really good.
Can run.
He'd be
But-
very good.
Yeah.
All right. We had some Spartan situations happen. I don't necessarily know. Should we even talk about this at all? I don't know. Let's just do the results real fast. We got Brendan Neely finished first out in Canada. Mount Tremblant. How's that?
Killed
Spartan
it.
race trifecta weekend.
Must have been that time in France.
Was it? So what was the race here? The Pro, Super.
Sunday Super Pro Championship.
So okay, this is part of their national series.
Correct. First one, they have 3 separate national series races during an 8-week window in Canada. $5,000 for first place in the series, 2,500 and 1,000. So I'm honestly kind of surprised more people didn't show up if you're in Canada. Like if you're a Sean Stevens Whale or Jesse Bruce, like
This was still a good race considering what we've seen on the OCR side
Yeah.
of things and the Spartan race side. So Brandon Neely takes the win in 70-20. Mick Girello was 71-25, and then Samuel A. Bear 72-51. Victor Funmeyer was 4th, and Matthew McLean was 5th. So
Yep.
these are good athletes through the top
This-
5. for
this
sure.
course had about 2,700 feet of elevation gain over a super distance. So it was just a little bit less climbing than Big Bear for perspective. And to finish 70 to 72 minutes on the men's side, it's a really good performance in a tough climbing race.
On the women's side, we had Lisa Musacchio coming from the United States, going up there, cleaning up. Where is she based out of?
She's East Coast. She runs a ton of the races on the East Coast, but she's been on a roll the past season. Pretty much a podium lock at any single race that she does. I think she was 4th in Big Bear and 2nd, or she ends up winning this Canadian National Series race. She's definitely a riser in the sport right now.
I'm making fun of you, not her. To say she's a lock for a podium and your first example is a 4th place finish.
No, I said she had been a lock.
Nice,
I
dude.
meant to say she had been a lock at all the local races. Then she finally does a big race and she gets 3rd or 4th at National Series race.
It was a very good performance. I was just making fun of the delivery.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Beatrice Moyen Silvestri was 2nd. Susan Snitnitsky finishing 3rd.
Snitinsky.
Snitinsky.
Yeah. Susan, double S.
Yes. All right.
And then Bracken always picking her when we had the races over there. Margaret Leibovich.
You don't know.
I do know
Like
that
that.
I watched this race, tried to watch it on the treadmill, and
How'd it go?
this was a very small field, especially on the women's side. A ton of walking in separation early. This is a top end heavy race, and it was difficult to watch. There's not a lot of the rabbits were one step up from Big Bear, but the sport is really struggling right now to get the camera in the hands of someone that can show the race. As Jack will talk about, good coverage itself. Coverage was good. Cameras were clear. They were on. They were pointed at the mountain, but they weren't in the hands of people that could keep up.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct. It's like you're not watching the battles because the rabbits can't hang with the top racers, and that's kind of the disappointment. But I think like when I was in Big Bear, for instance, they didn't even have a cart to to get the rabbits in different parts of the race, like that's a fault of Spartan right there that would make everyone's job a lot easier. But I think one positive takeaway from this race, doing a post edit, perfect clarity the entire time. Audio is good, and it's just like a more digestible product. It's just, we need people to be able to follow them. That's kind of the big separator. But I think that this shows that the post race edited version is the way to go going forward. If you want something a little bit, it's just a much higher quality, and you want to watch that.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this every time we talk about it. But for this type of scenario where there are minutes of gap in between seeing people, or you're just watching randoms come through, and that's rude to say randoms, but from a race perspective, they are random people that no one outside of their families tuning in to watch because they're not a part of the podium chase. The post edit's better because it just gets rid of the dead air. So it is a better quality production.
All right. Let's that's
Yeah.
cool. They continue to care less and less.
By they, I want to be clear, we're not talking OCR report, we're talking
Yeah.
Spartan.
We're talking about Spartan. They care
Spartan.
less and less, makes me care less and less.
For a multi-million-dollar company that has a visual representation of their brand, if they see the result and say, let's do it again next time, then it shows that they don't care. OCR report is doing the best thing they have with what they have, but if Spartan doesn't look at that and say, we need the cameras with the athletes, we are going to provide you with the bare minimum of budget to get some rabbits here who can run, which we have offered to do ourselves. Simply get us there and we will do it for that, for a very minimal cost, just to help this. If Spartan doesn't look at that product and say, this is embarrassing, we need to show our athletes, if they don't see that, then they don't care. And if they don't care, how can we expect anyone else to care about this? It was disheartening. So OCR report is doing the best they can with what they have, but Spartan has just proven they don't want to commit to this working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we had a race in the national series that OCR report was down. I haven't checked out the coverage yet. Was busy watching track all weekend, but I'll check it out also. But I hope the coverage is good, because on the men's side, you had 1, 2, 3, the fight for second place between Cerro and Angel, 3 seconds apart. And then Eugenio, he ended up winning the race. Like, you've got about a 30-second spread between the top 3 podium in a sprint, a fast course down in Mexico. So, there are still really good battles going out there. It's just, they need to help the product, basically.
I was upset during my workout at Spartan's lack of commitment to trying to help the sport. I was upset during it.
We good?
Yeah.
I'm ready to move along. All right. So let's talk about track and field. Track and field time. We got a good solid hour talking about other niche stuff. If you're not dialed in, not plugged into track and field, this might be a little dense. And we're going to go spoilers on that. I'm caught up all the way through yesterday, Monday evening, except for the women's 5K. No spoilers for that.
Rich, I'd almost be willing to pull it up and we could do a watch along. I
was kind of thinking that. I was trying to can I figure out how to do it.
It was so good.
I will be dialed in later, but let's kind of go through where we are. So this is, I thought I had something to say about that. I was watching House of Dragons instead. I had to catch up on my House of Dragons.
You're telling me you didn't watch the track and field because of that?
Because of that? It's amazing.
Great show, but there's no live component to it.
Yeah,
there's a live conversation about it. Now we're
Are
having.
you part of that?
I like to hear it from the outside.
Are you plugged into the live conversation on Game of Thrones?
I was out of town for a wedding all weekend, and I sat here yesterday and just pumped it out.
You were a couch potato, I bet.
I pumped out everything I could, and I just couldn't do the full day. Women's 5K was the only thing I didn't get. And I want to make sure I give it the proper attention because these races have been so entertaining.
Yeah.
Even the men's 10K. That's where we'll start. First race of.
Well, real quick. You guys convinced me to get Peacock.
You're on.
Got it. So.
And it stinks.
I was going to say, but there's a huge downside of it because yesterday, right after I purchased it, I tried loading it and it wouldn't pull up on the TV with Amazon Fire Stick. So I had to, do jerry rig some contraption to get an HDMI cable into my laptop and then pull it up in the app, and it doesn't fit the screen properly. Oh,
It's not a good
that app
product.
sucks.
Not a good product. And that's why I was trying to scrub through so I can watch just
Yeah.
1500, watch just the women's 800. It's what I had time to this morning. And they're
Yeah.
just like bouncing me all over the place. I had no idea what was what. Yeah, the
And
web
do
player
they
on that sucks.
do they still show ads even if you get the ad-free version? Because I
If
did the $11.99 a month one, and there were several times where it was an unskippable Culver's ad or
were you watching
whatever
it
else.
live?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you
live
can't
TV.
not
I don't
have
wanna s-
commercials on live TV, dude. What
No,
do you want?
no,
What do you
what
want?
are you
It
gonna
would
time
just be,
travel?
it would just be
I was
blank,
watching it
blank
live, but
screen.
I was about a half an hour behind. So
Uh,
it
No,
was
it's
like,
still
I guess
live.
technically during the live broadcast, but I wasn't watching that moment. So
you couldn't fast forward the commercial.
no,
30
I
minutes
Yes.
behind?
was not able to. They
You
locked
could
in
Oh, that's
3 minutes or
bad.
so of commercial break, even with the slightly delayed version within the live broadcast of it.
Usually they pull them out. Sometimes they don't. I was watching World Cross, and they did not pull the commercials out of that one, so I
Okay.
could fast forward through it. But
So
if I've been watching the replays, and there's no commercials in the replays.
so if I were to go back and watch, what happened on Friday right now, they would have removed the commercials at this point with that. Okay.
Yes.
So live is just going to be as if I'm watching TV. You have to suffer with the commercials, but you get it anyway.
That's how it is.
Stupid. I don't like it.
He's
Paid
like,
$6 for that.
if there was an option to skip the pole vault and javelin, I would buy that option as well.
What?
One thing I do like is they're doing standalone streams for those events.
Then they should keep it out of the other one.
So they only cut away for highlights. And I'm not defending them cutting away from a race, because they show 2 laps of the steeple, then cut away, then come back, and
that
then
was
after
horrible.
the steeple, spend 7 minutes showing replays of something happening.
The
Like,
most important thing happened while they were
do
like,
it
let's
then.
let's watch this person run down a thing and miss a jump. Like, oh, this is the 3rd hour of
Picture
competition
in
for the
picture,
pole
people.
vault.
Picture in
They-
picture.
But they did
They
it.
did,
and
but
then
it
they talked
was-
about the pole vault.
It was terrible timing. They just,
Because they can
didn't
put
need to
that
do it
in wherever they
moment.
want. Yeah, they could put it in anywhere else.
They
Like,
have a
there's
10-minute
downtime.
break in between events. They could do it then.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually watched all the women's triple jump and men's shot put the finals in the separate
Wow,
stream.
you're a psychopath.
So, psychopath. It was good.
The jumps are not good, dude. I'm sorry. It's just, especially because they just fail, and it's like, great. They get so hyped, clapping, and
The
then
clapping's annoying.
then they step over the board and just like don't really jump. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, men's 10K.
First event that will send people to Paris.
First event, signing the big Eiffel Tower, the 9-foot Eiffel Tower on site. So this one was, I thought I had fun watching this. It did cut a lot of it out, and there was some big moves, but it was kind of fun, because as soon as I saw Connor Manson that thing, I was like, great. These guys aren't going to jog. Connor Manson's not going to let that happen.
Every step that guy takes looks like he's in a final kick. He's so aggressive running.
Yeah, I had one of my best friends in high school, and then he was my roommate my first year down at Campbell, was that type of frame, like 5'6", and a toe runner, and just always, if he was not doing an easy run, he looked like he was running a 400 or an 800 always. And that's just like, there's a certain frame that's what happens. It's so bizarre to watch. But he guaranteed, Nico Young has to be like indebted to him for life. He guaranteed that this was going to take a big engine to make the team.
I mean, the results were slower than, about a minute slower than the standard, but it was a hot day.
It was hot.
It was a hot day. And, but yeah, Connor Mann's just grinding his teeth. With that, though, who kind of boned Nico Young was our boy Sam Chalenga. Chalenga making that move, runs to the front, out of nowhere, and then just decides and Nico goes. He's like, all right, well, this seems to be some sort of move that's happening. Nico goes.
Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Chalenga looks back after a couple laps. He's like, I'm gonna go back there.
Yeah.
And then it was Nico was in the front, and you could tell he wanted nothing to do with leading that race at any point of the race.
Yeah.
He was just locked into whenever a move gets made, I am doing whatever it takes to go with it. And then he covered some fake moves, but he was ready. He was ready. Dialed.
I'm happy that they did that. The top 3 with Grant Fisher, Woody Kincaid, and Nico were all the 3 that did get.
Yeah.
So what would happen in a scenario if Drew Hunter outkicks Nico Young and fails to get the standard, does it roll down to Nico then?
That's pretty much
Yeah.
what's happening in the steeplechase with Evan Yeager.
So he's still okay. So you have to get this.
I think that Drew Hunter, who that was impressive what he did. I don't think anybody predicted him being in a sprint finish for the last podium spot, but I think he would have until July 6th or something. He has like about 2 weeks to get that mark, but no one's running a second 10K and then hoping to survive the Olympics in 2 weeks. Like that's just not realistic. You're not going to find a high enough quality meet, and it has to be at like a sanctioned event. There's some stupid stuff going on there, and then they have the world's the athlete point leaderboard for the world rankings that they have that make it difficult. It's a really complex system.
But you don't need to get top 3.
No.
Okay.
Which is weird.
You should, but you don't need to.
Right. Okay, that was a question that I didn't know. And that's one thing with this is like a lot of other countries just kind of appoint the people. They don't really even race for it. They can do whatever they want. So this isn't like delivered through the Olympics how you qualify. That's country to country how they want to do it, right?
Yeah, didn't Ethiopia and Kenya, they just like choose who based on how they've performed recently. It's like,
For the marathon, yes.
I was going to say you two have done really well in these couple marathons. This person had a DNF, but she's the world record holder. We're still going to go with her because she's better. Like that, I think there's some subjectivity there. Other countries, it's like, well, we only have one good athlete, so even if they don't get top 3 in this event, like you're just on the team because you're our best representative and you have the mark. In the US, it's like top 3 and you need the standard or else you're not making it.
Mm-hmm.
How are these dudes going to do? Grant Fisher looked great. When he's on, he just looks the best.
Yeah.
Like
he's leveled up. There's a look you have when you're the best person there, when all the racing you think is happening, and then they just decide, all right, I'm going to separate. And the separation happens really fast and looks effortless. And then they cross the line smiling and talking and jogging around. Like he has that thing going on, which speaks to a huge excess of fitness that didn't get used. So I think he at a world championship right now, I don't know, or like a Diamond League, I don't know, but in an Olympics, I think he's top 5.
He already was last time at the 5th or 6th, right?
In the 5, was it, or the 10?
I thought he did better in the 5K, but
yeah, I think in this one, yeah, I think he's a top 5 guy.
I guess it all depends on who from other countries is going to be there. But
they just
10K
never
is so
all
wild.
do well, and he will.
Yeah,
he looked great. He looked great with an 800 move too, like long move.
Mm-hmm.
Smashed to make that kind of a definitive move. Whew.
He performed well and surged in the heat. You'd know it's going to be hot in Paris. It just will. I think that's going to play to his advantage.
Humid, we know it. Hot and humid in France.
You were there
earlier than you want it to be.
Yep.
Earlier than you want it to be. All right. What else?
Woody Kincaid, second place. He has a sub 27 PR, right?
They all have 27 flat is the standard. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I thought it was 27 low, but yeah, Nico Young, he was 26.50 something. You're right.
It's crazy.
Nico, this is a long season for this guy, and he just went pro after the race also. But this is a long season dating back to college or NCAA indoors and then outdoors. Like, I just hope he's
Nico Young was pro before the race, right?
Was he?
He wasn't wearing a
I thought he signed an NIL, but he wasn't officially.
He was in a straight Adidas speed suit.
In the results, he's listed as Northern Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jack, maybe.
But he wasn't in an NAU kit.
No. I think they gave it, he officially is like, I'm done with NCAAs now.
Who did he sign with?
I don't know.
It's got to be Adidas.
Probably Adidas. That
was the suit he was wearing?
Yeah.
All right. Then we want to talk about hundreds. Are you guys locked into the sprints?
Drew Hunter. I didn't even expect to see him in the race.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was a 10K guy.
He's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just gutsy. And he came up short, but he made the race fun.
What do you race it?
The right 3 got through.
Yeah. Right, which is what you want to see. Because then, having him need to rip off another minute in a month or whatever, that'd be tough for a 10K. He was like a phenom in high school.
Sub
Mile.
4 guy.
He was sub 4 guy in the mile.
Went pro, I think, with Adidas. He got some huge deal, and like a lot of people weren't happy because he wasn't performing. And
Is he with Tinman? He's Tinman, right?
think
He's
he
out here
was,
in
yeah.
Colorado.
That Tin Man, yeah, he was. Tin Man's not a thing anymore.
It's
They
not.
kept the name, but they're not with that coach anymore. He's back coached by his mom again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They live here in Colorado too. He's not. He's from the East Coast though, right?
I thought it was Michigan, I thought. Maybe I'm thinking
Maybe.
Hobbs Kessler, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out there now.
It was a good race, bottom line. And the right 3 people made it who are probably going to do the best in the Olympics.
Yeah.
All right. What else we want to talk about? What made you guys so excited?
In general?
Yeah. Track and field.
That 100 was good and unpredictable.
Men's?
Yeah. We'll just stick in order. So the 10K, okay, the next final, well, I guess the next final that happened after that was the men's shot put. I know your buddy Joe, second place.
Represent Bethlehem Catholic.
Ryan Krauser
Valley.
had elbow surgery about, I think it was in April, just unleashed a 74, 75-foot throw. It's the reason he's won a gold before. He's going to be tough to beat, but Joe, I think, can end up on the medals again.
Let's go.
Yeah.
No,
All
you're
right,
not seeing Joe Thomas on that podium.
Nope.
He's basking in his hundreds of millions.
Sure is.
But he had to play for the Browns. All right, and then the next
No
final.
pressure.
Next final was the women's 100.
Sha'Carri's just on a different level. Like how poorly she ran through the prelims and the semis. Like, but her start was actually
Bad starts.
bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bad starts.
She had a shoe untied. Like,
Is she going to be
what
doing
do
the
you do?
200? Is she doing the 200 as well?
Mhm.
I don't think she's going to make the 200 team.
That's the thing. It seems like she can get to that high end. She can't sustain her high end, but her high end is higher than everybody else's, but she can't sustain it.
Yeah.
Where
She'll make the team.
you think so?
She
got
should be great at a
waxed
150.
last year.
I don't think so.
150 would be her event.
Yeah. Watching that race, unshockingly, my takeaway was, what are we doing with shoelaces? Why, in this day and age of technology, do sprinters rely on chasing the rabbit around the log and through why are we relying on a little strap of nylon when all your millions have been poured into human health and performance, and we're going to rely on shoelaces, people?
Wait, what
Why
happened?
is that a thing in sprint? It was untied.
Yeah.
It came
in the
untied.
semifinals.
Sha'Carri's
Her shoe
Oh,
from
my
the
goodness.
start was untied, and she
She
ran
can't-
like a 10.8.
She can't tie that with those nails she has.
No way.
This is a nails issue. I don't think this is a shoelace thing.
All right.
Why
so
do we have laces? With
had the
Olympic
zipper.
trials on the
Do you remember the basketball shoes? BK, you remember those? They had the zipper.
first,
They
we had
came all the
Gary
way up.
Payton,
The
Vince
glove.
Carter had them. Yep. It's just nonsensical why you would put your whole season in the hands of a piece of cotton or nylon. Why is shoe technology addressed everything except the laces?
You throw a triple knot on there. What's the problem?
Well, you do, but that's dumb.
Nails.
Yeah.
She can't. Someone else probably did it for her.
Gail Devers did it.
You'll never get your own. Someone won't tie her shoe right other than yourself. She's probably has other people tying her shoes. Can't work. I don't think that would be that comfortable to start with either. She did not wear the nails at the finals at Worlds last year. She had them on for like the semis or prelims, took them off, won.
Listen, I have a whole rant I can go off on testing out these speed suits and wind tunnels, and then letting guys and girls just like wear earrings and chains and whatever hairstyle you want and bandanas flapping. And hey, if we're not going to do it all, why are we even bothering with any of it? It's foolishness.
I'm with you. Shouts to Melissa Jefferson and TT Terry. They've been really solid on the 4x1 in particular. So it's great to see them. And they're all the same coach, which is crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say same training group, like big success there.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, the U.S. women, 7 of them, 11-0 or faster. That's a deep squad. You go to any other country, they would be pretty much guaranteed on the team. That must be a hard
Not
feeling.
Jamaica.
That's true.
They have one athlete, right, who's really solid now with Shelly Fraser Price kind of being on the back end of her career.
Yeah, she had a rough
Um,
season so far. She only ran one
I
race, I
think there'll
think.
always be someone. They'll fill
someone's
the
coming
gaps.
up. Same
Yeah.
with like just how the U.S. right, like
Yeah.
that. This is a good team that we're sending though.
Yeah.
This is a very
Yeah.
good team.
Very.
Murray Davis would have been a good fit in that as well.
Yeah.
But
Is Elaine Thompson Hara, is she the 100 or 200? No, she won the 200 last time. Oh man, she's not even gonna be defending the 200 title in Paris. I just typed it in.
Nope.
Wow, Jamaica dropping like flies.
what's next, Jack?
All right. The next, that was it for Saturday. On Sunday, we've got, these are Masters, Vince pole vault. I think Sam Kendricks took it, and he might not even be going to the Olympics because he's mad about what happened in Tokyo.
What happened in
We had
Tokyo? People were like, "Man, it's just boring. I'm not gonna watch."
he tested positive for coronavirus while there, and basically
Mm,
they told him you can't compete. So I'd be pretty pissed
Who's he
about
mad
that.
at?
yeah, what's he talking about?
I don't know, but he said that it was a false positive or something. Like he wasn't. I don't know the
He's
whole.
still mad to the point
Yeah,
where he won't compete
he's
in the
considering even
Olympics.
not competing this year,
Like, here's your
despite.
chance to get it back.
That'll prove the
Yeah,
point. That like
Right.
who's he getting at?
Great. We don't
yeah,
have to deal with this guy.
Right. Cool.
yeah, exactly.
Wow. Question for you. Why was there some master stuff at this meet?
I don't know. I saw that also. I think
There
it
was
was
an
just so.
exhibition, something.
I think it was so Snoop Dogg could run his 200.
I'm
Snoop's
pro.
good.
I'm
Snoop.
pro Snoop Dogg in this. At first, I was like, what are we even doing
Yeah.
here? But then I was like, all right. When he was talking, when he's at the steeple pit,
Yeah.
He's like,
I was
whoa, I
I
didn't
was
know they could step on that wall. It's like,
I was calming.
yeah,
He was dropping
He
some
and Kevin
bars.
Hart's Olympic coverage is always good.
All right. I'm locked
yeah.
in.
They
Snoop
gave him
Dogg's
a
done like
desk.
the Kentucky Derby in the past. Like
Yeah.
he's doing
Can you
everything.
imagine going from a murder trial to like America's awesome uncle over the course of your career?
That was just the case that they gave him.
That is
And
an
how
American dream being realized.
how funny, or not funny, but it's like they didn't let Sha'Carri Richardson compete in the Olympics last time due to a
So
THC
dumb.
violation, and
So
now they're
dumb.
like, "Hey, man, Snoop Dogg, come on the air. We're gonna promote you.
Yeah.
We're gonna let you run at our race, even
These
though
are the things
like,
that
ugh,
prove that companies are all businesses. Like High
yeah,
Rocks with testing and Lance, USATF with Sha'Carri can't go because she smoked, but let's bring in the patron saint of smoking. Like it's a business. People don't care about anyone but their dollar.
yeah,
It's delightful. I'm glad. BK, what do you
It's
think
great.
won the 800 Masters for men?
for men. What's is Masters 35 or 40?
I hope not. Looking at
I
these
bet
Sounds
it's
best.
201.
203.
No, much slower. Think women.
What?
Think girls. Women's 4x8.
We're not talking like 206,
215?
are we?
214.
Oh
What's
no,
the
this
age?
isn't real.
I don't know. This might be like is a dude from Chris
This has to be
McDonald out
like
here
the
from
80-year
Boulder.
olds.
Dude, like
More and more, I think my calling as an athlete might be Masters 800 meter runner.
that might be it, dude.
That might
Yeah.
just be my little slice of running nirvana.
The
Maybe it's
Masters
45. I don't know.
752.
USATF
know.
Masters starts at 35, I think. Someone fact check me.
I thought it was
we're on
35. That's why I mentioned it.
IT's on
But-
it.
Yeah. But
We got the men's 100 now? Or
no,
women
the
or steeple?
next event it would be the women's 400. I was just gonna say that last Olympics it was a triple podium for Jamaica. You had Elaine Thompson Hara, Shelly Ann Fraser Price, and Sharika Jackson.
Sharika
So-
Jackson is the one who's still rocking. She's going to be the biggest
Yeah.
issue.
So that'll be good. But yeah, women's 400 was the next event, and
Sunday?
that was on Sunday. Yes. So yeah, you had Allison Felix last year or last Olympics close out her career with a bronze. But yeah, and Quinera Hayes, she got 7th. But at the Olympic trials, she got 5th this time. So she, despite making the finals last time, she didn't even make the team this year. Kendall Ellis took home the win, 49-46, which was the exact time that won a bronze last year in the Olympics, or last time in the Olympics. Aaliyah Butler out of Georgia, 2nd place, and
She looked good,
Alexis
too.
Holmes.
She was really good.
Yeah. I was impressed by a lot of the college athletes. I like their ability to run rounds. And I think just having NCAAs within the past month versus a lot of the pro athletes who only ran once, maybe
Yeah.
twice this whole season. Like they're fresh. They're ready to go. They could survive the rounds. Like, I think that it played a big advantage this time.
You get into conferences like the SEC and their SEC championships, indoor and outdoor, with the rounds they have to run, it preps them for a world championship because you have a ton of world leads coming out of these conferences. And the sprinters, like especially 2-4, are able to compete at a world level with
Every
their
race.
times already. And they've gone through the rounds already. They know how to do it. And I think college coaches are getting a little better about load management, a little better. And so they're not quite as toast coming in. We even saw with Nico, he set up the second half of his season to be ready for this race. So they have a leg up now.
Yeah.
We saw some pros make mistakes. We saw veterans make sloppy mistakes in the trials so far. And the young kids have been the ones who are waiting and lurking and closing out races. It's been very interesting.
We saw a decathlete skip NCAAs and then win.
Yeah.
What was he from Michigan State?
I know what you're talking. I forget.
Yeah. Alexis Holmes did not look good. She barely made this team. And she's kind of been like our anchor on the 4x4. So I just thought,
so
we could just send the whole Arkansas team over there. They'll do just fine.
So this is another event where it's like, if you were in any other sport, or any other country, it's unreal the depth. You had all 9 in the field have the Olympic standard in the 400.
Yeah.
What a they better win that 4x4.
They should. I mean,
it's a completely different roster versus last time also. So all 3 new faces in the open 4 for the women.
European relays are so dialed though, that they seem to make up for things that they shouldn't be able to make up for every year.
The Netherlands would be the team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have 2 at the top.
Poland's good always.
Great Britain usually pulls something out.
Kaczmarek, Great Britain's will be okay, but these women, like if we have 4 women under 50,
we should be able to put 2 teams on the podium.
Yeah,
in the 4x4 if we wanted to.
Yeah, like I don't see it. Like the Netherlands, they usually go after the mixed because they have 2 women who are really like head and shoulders above.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have 2 more to fill out
the
team to run with this. Yeah, I was oh man, I just forgot. Oh, Talitha Diggs.
And this doesn't even count Sydney yet.
True. Right. Sticker on that.
So
I don't want to jump ahead. We could talk about 4x4 alternates later.
Also, if you count Mo, we have 10 women that can run sub 50.
Yeah.
10.
I don't want to jump ahead for her, but
11. That'd be 11 women sub 50 on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it was
so nasty.
Because they would run, right? Well,
because Mo's run it in the past and Sydney's run it in the past. So you have 2 of our best that don't even run the 400, and then you had 9 sub 50 there. I mean, it's just crazy.
If Sydney's on this 4x4, it's a wrap.
It's got to be, right?
There's nothing anybody can do. Nothing anybody can do.
I'm gonna look up. I want to know the all-time 4x4 for women. So 315. You had, oh my God, they had a 50 point and then 47.8 for 2 separate legs, and then a 49.3. So Soviet Union
recently?
in 1988. I don't buy it.
Jeez, that sucks.
They're not beating that.
That won't get broke.
That's tough.
You don't think that 153.8's good either?
Probably not.
Marita Coach, yeah, she's definitely legit. But there was in Tokyo, the women's 4x4 had Sydney, Allison Felix, Dalila Muhammad, and a Thing Mo, and they went 3:16.85. They were almost 2 seconds slower than that Soviet Union record. Sorry, you're not beating that.
Right.
And that was Felix, like 20 years into her career and several kids.
Well, Sydney actually had she ran the opener, so 50.2 was the slowest of the 4 legs.
Didn't she split 47 2 summers ago?
She definitely could, yeah. I think Mo went 48.3 during the 4x4 when they won gold, so not a bad alternate.
Ireland doesn't have a bad team this year either on the women's side.
Yeah.
Just taking a look.
All right, next event, steeplechase. Go for it.
This is where we had to watch the pole vaulters missed the pole vault.
Cutaway and a fall happens.
Yeah, Hillary Bohr just getting smoked by that barrier, hit the ground, hit the water pit
Hit
hard.
the angle and just like stuck.
He almost ran his way back into it. He pushed real hard to get back into like he was
With about
he was in
100,
fourth.
120 meters
Fourth?
left. He almost had it, and then
He ended up
it
finishing
just caught up
13th.
to him.
Yeah.
Well, he jogged at that point.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So Hillary Bohr, last time he finished 19th. I think he made the semifinals, but this is typically an event that, Moroccans, Ethiopians, Kenya, they're just going to destroy everybody in this. So
They're running
it's going to
like
be
A
hard
flat.
for US to put up a good steeplechase team.
This
And-
is the one event that, for whatever reason, the East Africans decide to race from the gun at a lot of Olympics.
Yeah.
This is just a fast event. Often World Championships, you'll see records get nudged. That does not happen in the 5K or the 10K. Until Ingebrigtsen, it wasn't really even happening in the 15. But for some reason, the 3K is a race at the Olympics, and that hurts us greatly.
Yeah. Bernard Keeter, he finished 11th last time, 822. Kenny Rooks basically was just under 822. So probably going
He was
to
dogging
finish about 10th. Yeah.
I think he's in 810 or under shape. I truly believe that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he had the look that Hocker had, that that Grant Fisher had, where whenever he wants to, he separates.
Time to go.
He did have that move, very decisive
Yeah.
move.
Yeah, I don't think he was anywhere near pushed in this race.
What's the standard time? 8:15?
8:15. And I don't know if anybody has it this year.
It looks like just Anthony Rodich and Hillary Bohr.
Yeah. So I don't even know if are
World
they gonna
ranking
be able to
can
send it?
get you in.
No. This is one of those ones where it's are you guys getting a Instagram call from Dylan?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Good job, Dylan.
Ignore.
Come on.
Ignore.
Decline.
I get so
Um,
much pleasure when someone in the
when
Instagram
Jeff-
group chat accidentally starts a video call. It's usually
Always
Nick.
Jeff.
It's
Nick
Jeff often
Bass does
too.
it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a feature that they need on Instagram. They could probably get rid of that.
Yeah. In a group chat. But anyway, I think this is one of the ones where that world ranking, if they can't fill the field, that's what they're going to base it on. And I forget, it's like top 24 in the world or top 40. It's some multiple of 24. Where if you're ranked there, you're able to compete if you're within there and you did top 3 at your nation's trials or something, and you have a certain amount of quality. It's some really stupid rule. That's obviously way too confusing. Not even the commentators knew what was going on. But yeah, there are a couple situations where
In fact, the interview afterwards, they say, "Congrats, and now you're heading to the games." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Not
Like,
yet.
let's not tell him that."
yeah. And then there's a
They might not.
possibility that the best steeplechaser in U.S. history, Evan Yeager, who finished 4th, which honestly, I didn't see that coming. Like I thought he was done. But there's a chance that he ends up competing on the team, even though he's 4th, because he has that world ranking
He's actually
That's-
first up.
that's better than James Corrigan from BYU, who had a heck of a kick at the end right there.
Mhm.
Real impressive down the home stretch, but there's a chance that he misses and Evan gets in.
Because of the ranking. That's interesting.
Yeah,
You have to go
real
jump in a
confusing.
meet quickly that has prestige and get your ranking up.
Should every one of these dudes should do that, right?
Exactly.
You'd think
It's
so.
not like
yeah.
a 10K.
But here's the issue. It has to be, you have to earn a certain amount of points. And basically, unless you set a world record, you're not going to get enough points just by the performance and the scoring tables. So there are some races that are World Athletics A level, B level, C level that will get you an extra 50 points if you win it. And the only one and you have to declare which events are there ahead of time. There's like a steeplechase in Uzbekistan that is a C level next weekend. So if he wins that, he gets a free extra 50 points on top of his performance. It might be enough to get him there.
This is
But
for
it's
who?
very unlike James Corrigan, 3rd place. But
yeah.
it's like you have to hop on a plane and go to Uzbekistan.
And it's like probably on his own dime. Dude's in college.
Exactly. Yeah, BYU. Like it's
Combine it with a mission. He'll be fine.
Get out there. Spread the word.
Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah. Steeple's fun, but US ain't no good.
And
Yeah, the LDS will cover it if it's mission.
exactly.
There we
It's
go.
a mission to make the Olympics.
They got
So
cake.
Matthew Wilkinson, that was the guy that you were saying from Minnesota who didn't even make the state meet as an individual, and then he ends up on
There's
the
got to be
roster
something
likely.
to that. Like he started running track and field
Yeah.
his senior year or something like that. Because I mean, like if this dude went from a guy who couldn't do it in Minnesota, shots fired at Minnesota, like what? How slow are we talking about?
Midwest distance running is strong.
10:30. What do you think this guy's running in the 2 mile?
Come on.
Seriously, like to not make the state meet
In what?
in
In a 2 mile?
Minnesota 2 mile. Yeah,
You got to
10
be
flat.
sub 940.
Okay, so
no
all
way.
right,
It's when I was in 05, you weren't making it with slower than 940, 945. Midwest distance, you got to come correct.
I don't
all right, I'm
believe
looking it up. I'm on his. He ran at University of Minnesota, and he finished 7th at the 2016 Minnesota High School cross country championship. So he just probably
Did he
struggled or
fall?
got hurt.
He got hurt.
Yeah.
He ran at Minnesota.
2-time
Good
All-State
team.
honoree in cross country. He holds the school record in the 32. Like he ran. He probably just got hurt or something.
It's a talking point. They're like, yeah, you didn't qualify. It's like, well, yeah, I got sick.
There's a chance if you're in a
at the
stud
district meet.
sectional,
If you get 7th in cross,
he might not have had any wheels.
and then now he's a steepler. Now he's an 820 steeple guy.
Sure. Okay.
He
high
runs the
school,
way you run in a dream.
no, high school
Where's
PRs.
that?
High school PR. Okay, this is legit. This is on mile split for 159.88, 800, 419.6, 1600, and 915.7 for 3200.
915 I'll get you there in Minnesota.
915 will get you there.
I think they're embellished a
159
little
might
bit.
not.
Yeah.
It would.
159? You
Minnesota
got kids running 147 these days.
freshman running freaking sub 150. Craziness. All right. Now men's
Minnesota
100.
and Wisconsin have about the same population, so it's probably about as deep as each other.
They're nowhere near as deep as us.
All right. Then probably the best race or the most unexpected outcome, 100 meters men.
Most unexpected outcome
I thought Christian Coleman was a gimme making the team.
for that. Yeah, I was
For that.
like, well, the world
Not in the whole
champion last
weekend.
year
No. I agree. Yeah.
finished first.
I didn't know that Kenny Bednarik was that good in the 100.
Me neither. He looks great. His run form is awesome.
Yeah. Because he got a silver in the 200, I think, at the 2021 Olympics.
Yes.
And
He's gotten
usually
silver a bunch. Yeah.
you don't see people as they age, except Fred Curley, I guess, decide to drop events or
No Lyles.
drop down a distance.
Those
Okay,
also
you're
drop
right.
down. All these guys kind of have.
He's a 400. They're all 400 guys dropping down to 2 and dropping down to 1.
And it works
Found
out.
the youth in America.
Yeah.
Then we got the
Who's dirtier, U.S. sprinters or East African distance runners?
probably
They're
East
all
African
clean.
distance runners.
I think that our percentage is higher in the U.S. sprinters.
If you look at the number of positive tests that have happened recently, it's hard to argue against.
Well,
It seems like-
percentages though, not numbers.
it seems like the benefit for sprinting would lend itself more to doping, but the life-changing ability for performances from East Africans
Financially,
would outweigh the reason to do it.
We just
in
have
my opinion.
convicted dopers running our sprint groups.
Yeah.
And that's tricky.
Like I just whatever.
I am a U.S. sprint hater.
hater.
I took such delight when Coleman missed the
Yeah.
team.
Whereabout? He didn't fail. Whereabouts?
They said for a whereabout violation.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 of them. I
No.
think.
Well,
There-
he
there are
skipped
many.
3 of them.
He's just bad with his schedule. What are you talking about, man? He just is out and about. He's a little flaky. He's got
You know how it is when you got millions of dollars on the line, you forget to do your calendar.
Sometimes just didn't, you just
It's
forget to
literally
show
your
up to
only
things.
responsibility.
He's
Anyways,
in the starting
hater.
blocks. He's in the starting blocks no matter what, just working on that start.
Yeah,
He needs to work
so-
on that last 20.
Oh, I know, seriously. Yeah,
He's just so small. He's just like not powerful enough. Like seriously,
He
he's just,
reminds
like,
me of-
super small.
Of the Jamaican sprinter from Cool Runnings, was played
one?
by
There's-
one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
Weren't they
one
all
of the
sprinters?
weigh-ins or something.
No, that's not right. Weren't they all sprinters?
Well, yeah, but there was only 4. The short one, the short bald one.
No.
I just think that it's interesting that he's kind of like
DK's getting to the bottom of this one.
Getting to
Yeah.
the bottom of it.
Christian Coleman has like the same range as Sha'Carri Richardson, but tactically it's so different. It's like he explodes. He's got the best 60 or the best start probably in history.
He does have the best 60.
And
he was world champion
yeah.
60. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. But like, I think he might hold a record, if not as Maurice Green from back in the day. But regardless, Christian Coleman, like arguably top 2 or 3 best starter in history.
For sure.
And then it's like from
Got
70
beaten
to
the
90
60
meters,
indoors.
what happens? Yeah.
He's racing these dudes in the 200 who are just fast. He did not get Christian Coleman won the 200, the 60 indoors.
He won the 60. He beat Noah Lyles.
Year before then. Lyles took it.
I don't think Noah's ever won the 60.
I don't think he's won the 60. I thought he medaled.
Fact check me right now. Noah Lyles, 60-meter champ.
Let's get to the bottom of this cool running situation first,
Can't.
and then
It's
we'll,
already
then
on
we'll
the
talk
back burner.
then we'll talk about where Noah Lyles.
We can move on to Arian Knighton. Another
E-competition. All right.
Something
World
happened with
Indoor
him too, right?
Bracken World Indoor Championship, 60 meters, second place, 6.44, March 2024.
That was Noah.
That's his only listed World Indoor Championship for Noah
Maybe it was
Lyles.
US.
Might have been US. Yeah.
He's not good at the 60.
National. He ran a 6.43 and he won, but he didn't win Worlds.
He won the US.
Won US and he beat Coleman at it.
Coleman busted that ass.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Anyway, Arian Knighton, speaking of people who have had a doping conviction, recently overturned and he's allowed to run the 200. The 200 is going to to be crazy.
This
the
was the thing
anti-Shelby
that
Houlihan.
the Houlihan.
He claimed the
came
tainted
through.
meat, and this time it worked.
His burrito was good.
Poor
Or
Tainted
actually
supplement.
bad. Yeah.
Unknowingly ingested beef.
He was
Those are
listening
three
to our
options.
podcast last week. You know, you got to keep a sample of it, right?
He was just eating meat. Come on.
I take one little piece of all my Qdoba and I Ziploc it and I put it in my freezer. And whenever I
Smart.
find the tainted one, I'm going back to that
That's
place
the one.
every time.
Yeah.
In his case, I believe it was just the amount that came up in his test, not testing the meat that they had. I believe that was it. Like right?
He got off the hook. Bottom line.
Yeah, he just didn't have
They
enough of
believed
whatever
it came
they
from
said.
contaminated meat.
Yeah.
That was his excuse.
And
It's
it,
not.
and it
It wouldn't
convinced
be.
him.
It wouldn't be contaminated. It would just be that there is that substance can be found in meat. Like you get it from meat.
Yeah.
It's just not like exogenously like taken.
Correct.
It's not like there was a steroid, right? Or
They're-
no, would
they're
that be
like-
the case?
They're
Or would the
making sure
beef-
that those cows are nice and American sized. So they're injecting them with some
Yeah, would it be the
bad stuff.
steroid?
You
Would it be
eat
the
it.
steroid in the meat, or would it be
Yeah.
something in meat that is the?
There's two ways to get it. There's offal, OFFAL, I believe. That's the part of pigs
Yeah,
that can contain osterine, I believe, or something that is
just
they
part
kept-
of their meat, like that's just like, or because that they were given a steroid.
no, and it can happen in it's more occurring in wild, like wild boar and things like that. Like it's just it's a chemical that's produced in their body if it's not harvested correctly or something like that. The other side of the coin is when they are genetically enhanced with
Mhm.
or chemically enhanced at a facility that doesn't have certain quality control levels.
You're not eating grass fed beef or whatever. Like whatever's in their feed, you're probably going to end up getting some of that in your.
But because it's a known thing, everyone claims it.
Yeah.
And I'm a hater, so our sprint teams are
Burritos.
dopers.
Shelby must be pissed.
I would have rather Christian Coleman gotten through because I think he can beat Noah Lyles because Noah Lyles is so corny that I just like
So corny.
can't watch it. Like
See him
I've
pulling
had,
out like anime cards
Anime
beforehand.
Yu-Gi-Oh
and it
cards.
kept falling out of wherever he was putting it. They had to like
Yeah.
wait for
They
him
had
a
to
couple
start.
times.
Yeah, they had to delay the start. Like, oh, just 1 second. My Charizard is.
Is he? Because corny NBA players like LeBron's pretty corny, but I think
Yeah.
LeBron's funny. Jason Tatum's pretty corny. Who is he? Who is his like equivalent in terms of cornballness in any professional sport? Because Noah, I just don't think anything he does is like funny or cool, and he's just.
I feel
trying
like
so
Eli
hard.
Manning.
No.
No, because
I mean,
Eli's
he's
not
Eli's fun to
trying.
hang out with.
Eli's not trying. He is just corny.
He just is funny. Yeah.
Noah is trying to be cool, and he's just not. And it kills me to watch. I like root against him, and I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Join me on Team US Sprint Hater.
I would rather a doper beat him because of his corniness.
Didn't Magida say that he can't stand Noah also in the group chat?
Magita's a good one. His level of corniness is similar to Magita's.
There you go.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
Dave.
Jack.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack.
All right. Yeah, bottom line, like it's a good team that the US is sending. This is gonna be interesting. Fred Curley just performs at big
This is
meets.
nasty. This team is crazy.
Didn't Curley like drop his sponsor a week before? He had some
It's Oakley
situation
now.
with that.
Was that an Oakley uniform? Is that what that was?
Yep. Pulled the iron out, slap that thing on there.
Looked
Yeah.
legit. So yeah, I don't know who is gonna like. We can come away with some medals for sure because Jamaica's a bit down.
Yep.
The dude, the Olympic champ, has been not good from Italy. Or
He just went sub 10 twice though at Euros.
Oh,
did he? Because he's
Okay.
been bad the past couple of years.
Marcel.
Yeah.
Marcel.
And then outside of that, I think Kenya has a dude who's like pretty good. He's
Yeah,
better
yeah.
at 60.
Francis. There's
Damalambe,
no, there's the
uh,
Let's say Tobago or something. I
Tobogo's
forget.
good.
Tobago's good.
He was actually nasty in the 400. His like 4x4 splits have been really
You
good.
see the Botswana guy?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Yeah, regardless.
Noah's
And
probably gonna
shout-
win this,
Shout out 5th place, high schooler 998.
right?
That's stupid.
He snuck into the semis. I think his quarters were really poor, but then his semi was good,
hmm
and he ran a good final. He was in this mix.
All right.
You thinking Dylan Brooks level of corniness?
Ooh. That's pretty close. But Dylan Brooks is it's like kind of the opposite way. He's just like, I'm gonna be corny in terms of like this enforcer character.
Mm.
Where Noah's like, I'm like gonna be like think I'm the man, doing things that people might think are cool that are not.
All right, Carl Anthony Towns.
Ooh, that's a pretty good one. Cat is definitely cornball. Cat is a cornball. All right.
Dwight
Like-
Howard was pretty corny back in the day.
Yeah.
Dwight might actually be the one.
Yeah.
That might be
Tyler
Jack,
Hero.
you're just crushing the corniness comps.
I'm killing it.
This will be a reoccurring.
I know it when I see it.
This will be reoccurring.
Yeah.
Cornball comps by Jack Bauer.
Exactly.
All right.
Now, probably the most excited race for all of us, the men's 1500.
Woo. What were
You
your
guys-
guys' predictions before? We were talking about it on the group chat.
Well, we could have had you in that Let's Run prediction contest, but Rich is too busy not filling it in. It's only me, Bracken, and Dylan.
I'm crushing.
Nerds. What were
Predicted it in order.
You did.
No, you
You
didn't.
picked-
I've got results.
No, I want out of order.
I'm gonna walk this
Yeah.
back.
I was like, no.
You picked the
Everyone
goose,
picked the
right?
goose. Did you see all the fans with the goose hats?
That's pretty cool.
That was
That's
awesome.
legit.
My
That's legit.
Ayla was like, "Do you think he likes that?" I was like, "Honestly, he has fans. He probably loves it."
He probably loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude's got a pet turtle. Tells people about it. That was, I mean, I did think Nagoose was on a different level, and that it looked like Cole Hawker had to make that move. He kind of got
Mhm.
he moved to the outside, and then whoever was in second or third at the time didn't give him space, so he kind of had to continue to push forward from 250, which is pretty
It's
long
tough.
when going against someone like Nagoose.
Yeah. Because
I
he
think
did it on the back.
Goose is the third best miler in the world when the first two milers in the world are in the race.
When we're talking about
I think-
Jakob and Josh Kerr.
Yeah, I don't think he's yet got the full arsenal at his disposal. I don't think that he shifts gears as well as some other people, but if you just set people out there to run fast, I think he can hold on with a capacity that only two other people in the entire world have. But Hawker's the better racer.
Is Nagoose Ryan Atkins? Doesn't matter who's there. Always going to end up on the podium, but might not necessarily win, but always performs well at championships.
Nah.
Nah. All right.
No, worst grip
Just
strength.
trying to tie this into OCR. But yeah, I think when I was watching this race with the opening 200, I'm like, if I'm Nagoose, right away, go to the front, make this thing a fast race. And they set the Olympic trials record, top 8 finishers, all broke the old record, 3:30.8. That's a crazy fast time, realistically, in the 1500. And I think that he did exactly what he needed to do to ensure that he makes the team.
I mean, is there any doubt though? Like that was probably the reason why he didn't win.
There's no such thing as a gimme. Like how many events have we seen where the overwhelming favorite did not make the team?
You
And we haven't
can't
even
play
talked about the
around.
big. Yeah,
You can't play track.
You can get tripped. You don't want to have to be, if you're not a kicker and you've run a 3:43.9 for your mile, you're going to the front and making sure there's a fast race, because no one else in that field should be able to hang with that pace. And he
Yeah.
just dragged everyone along to a fast time, but he ran the right strategy to make the team.
And I think he guaranteed our 3 best milers went.
Yeah. Yes. And that's probably why he will end up finishing higher than Cole Hocker in the Olympics, because he won't have to lead
Yeah.
the Olympic final.
Yeah.
Shouts to
Cole
that.
might have to kick every round.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to do that.
And that damages you.
He's going to have to.
Does the fact that this is Cole's second time in the Olympics help him? Because last time everyone was like, he's got this crazy kick and stuff, but still, you're inexperienced. I think winning this, beating Nagus, seeing how close Nagus was to Ingebrigtsen, who also has been, on the same level as Kerr this whole year. Hocker's got to be feeling real good right now.
He's leveled up, but I would personally take someone with no kick and a huge engine, and I think it's easier to develop finishing speed than it is to develop staying power. Now, Hocker's done the tough thing. He's run now sub 13 this year. He has worked on his weakness. So I think he's way better suited to get through, but he doesn't have the ceiling Nagus has. I think Nagus might be the most talented miler alive right now. I think you give him 2 or 3 more years, he might break the world record. But it's going to take a race where someone gets him a long way into it.
He's willing to go. Here's the tough thing about the 1500. You could have a Matt Centrowicz year where one in like 350, or you could have one where it's 320 high and it's just a go right to the front. If I'm Kerr or Ingebrigtsen or Nagus, don't let that become a kicker's race when the Olympics come around. You need to make this a 320 high race.
I don't think Kerr cares one bit. I think he's that confident in his kick, but Ingebrigtsen
needs to.
Let this be in the 330s.
He needs to stretch it from like 600 to 800 out. Like, I think that's the longest he could wait. He looked good at Euros. He's really good at Euros.
And Hobbs Kessler, 21 years old. That was a
real
impressive performance. Yeah.
I like him.
I kept seeing like Cody Moat, images of him, like when they'd show it from afar. I don't know. Something about his profile seemed very similar.
He's OCR zone. I'm claiming him. He's a rock climber.
Rock climber. Yeah.
Still step into the field and do fairly okay. Okay.
All right. It's going to be a fun one to watch. The men's 400. Speaking of a fun one to watch.
I didn't catch this one either. Can we skip to the 800?
Just kidding.
Skip it.
Women's 800.
And the last one that we're going to talk about, because Rich also didn't watch
not there
the
yet.
Women's 5K, which was
not there yet.
Unreal. Not going to talk about it.
It was real.
Yes. So Rich, I'm confirming you have seen the women's 800.
I did. I watched the women's 800 and closed the Peacock media player.
Signed on
2 minutes before we popped on.
All right. What went through your head?
It's just such a bummer. I remember watching a thing, Mo, and I think when in the Olympic trials a couple of years ago, and I was so excited for her to watch her race, and I knowing that she's the best in the world, she has a chance. She is a gold medal threat, and she had, I think in 2 rounds, had 2 scares. I remember watching that, and then just watching her go down just sucks, man. This sucks.
She is not herself right now, fitness wise. And as such, she couldn't run in a way to stay out of trouble. And she has the type of stride and casual nature to her running that she can't run in traffic as safely as other people can.
Yeah.
She needed to be either more fit or running in lane 3 for the whole turn. She couldn't put herself in trouble, and she did. And that's what happened. The 800 it's too chaotic, and these women are too good to think you can get by.
I mean, this was her first race in 9 months. Her only 2 races before this were qualifiers.
Yeah. And she looks
so hard to watch.
She looked okay.
Yeah. She's Audrey's favorite athlete, and we were watching that last night, and both our jaws went to the ground. It was so hard to watch. And I was getting flashbacks to Safan Hassan, how she fell in the 1500. Remember last Olympics during one of the qualifying rounds, she got up. I'm like, maybe she'll do this. And, once you saw a thing go through the 400 about a second and a half behind the pack, it was maybe they went out too fast. They're all in the 57s. but you could tell it just wasn't going to happen. And that was just hard to watch.
800's different, man.
It
Not
is an
gonna
event
happen.
that doesn't pay to be on the rail. It really doesn't. I think in her position, you either lead or run in second or third way off the rail outside, or you go out and last and make your move whenever you feel like it. But
500 in or
getting
whatever.
down into it is a kiss of death. It's really, really dangerous.
Yeah,
She's not a compact strider. She's a loper, long, graceful. When you spend a lot of airtime, you cannot get your feet back underneath you when you get clipped. That's a dangerous way to run.
And she was looking in a different direction than straight forward when she got clipped, looking like she was going to move. So she probably did sway a little bit. Yeah, it sucks.
It was her contact.
Yeah, no, it wasn't anyone. It wasn't like anyone else's fault there. No, it's just like an unfortunate accident.
You want to see the best athletes at the best meets, and no disrespect to the other woman who made it. It's just like a shame that you don't get to see the reigning gold medalist who's in her early 20s get a chance to defend your title.
Especially with how strong the world
Keely's been
is.
looking.
There's like a three-headed monster at the top. Yeah, with
and
so
Mora.
Yeah, Mary Mora, and then
Mora,
I'm trying to see a thing in there would have been great.
Yeah,
she's the only one. I think there's 3 women who could win the gold medal, and one's not going.
Right.
And that's really that's hard to see.
Because these other women are solid. Like Nia Akins is good. Like Allie Wilson, she qualified for the indoor team.
I was so impressed with Allie. Like during all the rounds, watching her, she just went to the front. She was like, I'm not going in hoping that I'm going to get a time qualifier. Like I'm winning this heat. I think it was during the semifinals.
She just was like,
she just went to the front when everyone else was jogging. I was real impressed, and she had a real good kick also.
So she's from Pennsylvania, and I did a little bit of research. She's from a town just outside of Philly, like in Delcave. And then she was like a 216 in high school, and then went to Monmouth.
216 to 158.
Yeah, and then went to Monmouth and dropped it a little bit lower. Like she was in like the 206-ish range, which is like good. So she's just like it improves and improves and improves.
Yeah.
So shout out to her.
I forget about her voice every time. She has the most like stunning difference from how she runs and looks to what her voice sounds like. In every interview, I go, "Oh, I forgot about that."
That's right. Yeah. Juliet Whitaker, she's been someone that you've been able to follow since Foot Locker days.
Yeah.
Like she's been kind of.
She was a high school stud, from what I remember. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And her sister was in the 400, and I didn't know she went to Penn.
Interesting.
She made the 400
because
final.
Julia was at what, Stanford?
Stanford. It says she still is, but she wasn't wearing a Stanford kit, right?
She just competed though at nationals.
She did. She won. She beat.
I'm sure she's
Michaela Rose. She outkicked Michaela Rose then.
So her first pro race qualified for the Olympics.
I mean, if you're at Stanford though, and like she's probably taking some hard classes, she's probably like in some curriculum. Might as well just finish that thing.
She's doing real school. Yeah. She won indoors and outdoors at NCAA's this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nia Akins, I was really impressed with her also. I picked her to get second. So I guess with the thing not finishing, I was.
No, she was first, bro. Second's not right.
No, I know. Well, she filled the spot, but I was happy during the post-race interview, like during the race, during the regular commentary, they kept, obviously the big story was a thing Mo just ended up tripping, but during it, they were actually, they didn't reference that when Lewis Johnson was interviewing after the race. He actually gave them their moment, because at the end of the day, we've got 3 women who are 158, 4 or faster making the Olympics. Like, it sucks a thing Mo isn't there. It's still a really good team going, and I'm glad that they at least got a shout out.
Did you see her cross the line?
A thing?
I didn't see a single athlete interact with her.
No, she was like sobbing. She was crying.
No one. I didn't see a single person go up to her.
Be like, ugh.
Really?
I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Someone even like turned away at one point. So I don't know if they were just giving her space because like she's the queen and they've never seen this and they don't know what to do, or if she's unliked. But it was very interesting to see.
She does really good interviews. I don't know why she would.
Women's the female athletes are super huggy after races. They collapse all over each other, and no one addressed her.
I mean, she was so distraught. Like the camera,
right.
That would have been one of those like get that camera out of my face type of moments. But
yeah, right.
It's one of those like I saw this going one of 2 ways, but I never saw that happening.
Yeah,
it's just shocking.
I'd put her on the 4x4. She was the anchor last time they won the gold. That's gonna be her only race. I'd put
Oh,
her,
I'm
but
sure.
she hasn't really had her heart in track and field from what it sounded like for a while. Like, this is her first race in 9 months, as they mentioned before the weekend started.
Mhm.
And she just kind of was open about it not being like her number one priority, not really loving the sport recently. I don't know if she's going to stick around for 4 more years for redemption. Like, because Nia Aikens, who won, she tripped at the 2021 trials, and now it's all come full circle right there. But when you're the best in the world and you have an incident like that, it's like, do you think she's going to stick
Can't
around
go
for
out. You
4
can't
more
go out
I
years?
like
do.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think she
Can't
will?
go-
Yeah, she had an
definitely.
interview where she talked about when you've done everything there is to do outside of the world record, which isn't
Mhm.
touchable.
Yeah, because she's not on a crazy.
It's
East
hard to
Coast
stay
circuit.
motivated. And I think if she had gone back and won again, that was it. I think she was going to be done. I think this
Yeah.
is the only thing that'll get her back into the sport for the next cycle. I think it'll eat at her because she's one of those people that's the proof of you can't choose your talent. And she did what she was really good at. She probably loved racing with her friends when she was a kid, but as it grew into a thing and a job and the pressure, she didn't love that.
No pun intended.
But she's a competitor to the core. And I think that's going to eat her alive and it'll give her a spark for one more cycle. I think it's the only way we get her back.
Yeah. So she can't be in, or they already ran the open 4, so it's not like she could even have declared at that point. Like, if the 400 was later in the
Right.
in the trials, you had to declare anyway at this point. It's a closed field, so that wouldn't have even been an
Her
option.
only option is select the 4x4.
4x4. Yeah.
Be on the mixed relay.
Yeah.
Jack, we're gonna be plugged in. We're locked into
Damn
that
right.
mixed relay. Put bowling's on there too.
Yeah.
Fan
Quincy
favorite.
Wilson, hopefully, the ridiculous high schooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Anything
so
else?
rest of the week on Thursday, if you want to watch it, you've got the women's steeplechase and then men's 5K first round, women's 200 or the men's 200 first round. That's gonna be real good. Men's 400 hurdles opener. A lot of trials on Thursday, or qualifiers. On Friday, the next final that we're gonna see, the 110 hurdles. Did you see how good Grand Holiday was, or Holloway? 1292. He ran the
Really?
fastest rounds time in history.
He's unreal. He's so
He's
fun
on
to
another
watch.
level.
He's
Yeah,
so
but
fun
he
to
didn't
watch.
win. He didn't win gold last time, so
Right.
not a guarantee. That's why you run the race.
Right. Especially in
but-
hurdles. Hurdles is just like that, and like the 4x1. Whenever I watch those events, I'm just like holding my breath, hoping something stupid doesn't happen. You know.
Dropping the baton again. Yeah,
I was
but
always so happy I wasn't a sprinter. Like, how terrible would it be, like a twitch goes wrong and like your season's screwed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, on Saturday, June 29th, we're gonna have this is gonna be a good one. You're gonna have the men's 200 closing the night. Before that, the women's 10K, women's shot put, women's 200. So men and women's 200 on that same day. Long jump and then both the race walks. But Sunday to close it out, men's 5K, men's 800, women's hurdles, women's 1500, men and women's 400 hurdles. You better tune into NBC this upcoming Sunday if you want to watch some of the best racing all year.
If you have Peacock and you subscribe to the no commercials and watch it live, commercials will still happen.
Yep. I'm as
But
cheap as it gets.
You must be aware.
I'm as cheap as it gets. And even I signed up for Peacock. If you like anything running related, not even just running, just racing, it's worth it. Just a
Great
couple
value.
months, just get it.
Yeah, great value.
You can
I
learn
don't
the
pay for no
athletes.
ads. No way.
You just deal
You're
with the ads.
$5.99.
Yep.
I'm no
Sure.
ads, baby.
I splurged.
So I got that and the F1 app, which is way worse. So once you have that, oof, Peacock feels like a dream.
Yeah. Feels like YouTube circa 2010.
Yep.
Yeah. Rich, next time we're talking the 5K.
I'm
No
gonna
talking
be.
the
I'm
400.
gonna put it on right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it on right
Buckle
now.
up. It's a good race.
Great. All right, squad. Anything else we got?
Not a thing.
Anything else going on this weekend outside of track and
Nothing, Mo.
fields? We're just
Lock.
Yeah. I'll try to get a roster for Morzine for the Ultra World Championship.
which is what date?
That's
A week from
or
Saturday.
July 5th. So a week and a half from now.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll try to get that so we can maybe do a draft for that if there are enough good people.
Okay.
We
Figure something
should.
out.
Because I
I'd
need
like
to start my comeback story.
Yep.
Gonna need a lot more drafts for that. All right, squad. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.